Hi, welcome to Forex In Four. I'm Mike Conlon for FXEDU, and in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you the highlights of where the action is in today's Forex market. So let's get started.
Good morning. Today is Monday, May 16th, 2011. This morning I'm talking about international intrigue and a little bit of news happening over the weekend that, it's got everybody abuzz with what's going on, but it's not really, something that was expected or, a data point or a news event that would have us thinking anything differently about a particular region or something like that. But the head of the IMF was actually charged here in New York with a crime. He's being detained. I don't want to get into exactly what it is. I'm sure you've all read the papers and know what it's about. But it kind of sets up this whole idea of was this guy set up? What really happened? Who stands to benefit? There's talk that he was going to run for becoming the president of France. So there's talk that he was set up by Nicolas Sarkozy. There's also talk that if he was to become president of France and when he leaves the IMF, who's going to step into the IMF? And there's also a push from the developing nations, particularly the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, to get perhaps more representation for their own economic bloc on the panel. Because basically what's happened is that the IMF is run. There's usually a European head, and then the World Bank is usually run by a U.S. head. So that was the deal that was made a while ago. All right, so pretty much India, Russia, China have been locked out of this. So there's some talk that maybe they're trying to get some bigger representation. So interesting stuff going on. I just always, kind of dig this conspiracy things going on. But, we've got the markets happening here. We've got a little bit of a continuation of last week. So far this morning, we've got stock futures down here in the U.S. Asia was down overnight. Oil's lower. Gold is just slightly lower, just under 1,500. I think oil's back to like about 97 and a quarter. All right, but what you can see is we have Japanese yen strength to start out the day. And let's look here. You can see here that dollar was weakening. Looks like we're turning around as the morning's gone on, but you can see here, just look at Aussie yen. Okay, Aussie was weaker versus the yen this morning. We had Asian markets down overnight, pretty big. So we also see that the commodity currencies, namely New Zealand, we're going to look at these versus yen. New Zealand versus yen, Aussie versus dollar, Aussie versus yen. Okay, these are all lower because they have a high correlation to the MSCI Pac Rim Index, which again was lower, which means that usually there's a little bit of yen strength happening. So that's kind of what we've got to start today. But we see that the euro's higher. All right, euro's higher, and really not a ton of news happening for the euro, with the exception of their CPI data, which came in just slightly higher than expected. The year-over-year core was up just 0.1% higher than what was expected. It was at 1.6% versus 1.5%, and that keeps the year-over-year just headline figure at 2.8%, which looks to be about right. But they have experienced better than expected trade balance in euro, so they've actually got a surplus of 2.8 billion. They were expecting 2 billion for the euro trade balance. So things are looking up in the eurozone, but you can see that we had this massive sell-off here. We hit the 140 handle last Friday. All right, we're sitting just above 140 there, so we're going to have to see what happens here. But it looks like things are starting to turn around this morning. As I mentioned, we have U.S. stocks lower to start the day. Just want to look at the British pound here. Pound also lower. Okay, you can see that sitting up just, had a 160-150 right in here. Now, they had their home price index came in, and it came in a little bit higher than expected. So that means that, the asking prices for homes actually rose a little bit in the UK, which, that supports the inflation story a little bit. But what we're going to see this week from the UK is that on Tuesday, all right, we're going to get their consumer price index, and we're going to see, where they are as far as current inflation. And right now, it's expected that we're going to see 4.1% again inflation, which, that's very, very high for the UK. All right, 3%. The target rate for Bank of England is 2%. All right, anything above 3%, they, have to write that letter to the Chancellor of the Exchequer explaining what's going on, and they're basically double their target right now. So, with commodity prices pulling back a little bit, it's possible that we may see some inflation abating a little bit, but most likely not, because we're looking at last month's reading. So I doubt we're going to see that show up in the numbers. All right, but what we're going to get on Wednesday is the Bank of England minutes from the rate policy meeting, and we're going to see if anybody there has sort of shifted their stance and if they've turned more hawkish or anything like that. Because right now, the pound is lower. They're thinking that if prices do come back, that or get lower there, then we're thinking that they're not going to raise rates, and they're trying to go on as long as they can without raising rates, but it may be just a matter of time before they have to do so. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So we've got euro strength happening. I think we're going to see markets turn around a little bit today, which means U.S. stocks probably going to go higher. Okay, that's the first scenario. Or second scenario is that we're going to see dollar strength happening, and we'll see euro sell off, and then we'll see further selling in Aussie and in pound and all of these other areas. But right now I don't see anything on the docket here out of the U.S. that would really flip this around and make today a bad day for stocks. So to start the week, it's sort of like we go in Friday, as I mentioned last week, we go into this risk aversion over the weekend mode, and then Monday comes around and boom, we start buying at better levels. Now we do have Ben Bernanke speaking today, and we have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. We've got some other talk going on in Canada. Just look at dollar CAD real quick. Ooh, back up to 97.5. That's a pretty decent sized move there. We've got the Bank of Canada, Governor Mark Carney speaking today as well. There's a meeting in the EU of the finance ministers. I'm sure this Strauss-Kahn business is going to be right at the tip of everyone's tongue. And then we also have the Bank of Australia, their meeting minutes coming out tomorrow as well. So a lot of talk going on this week, and we'll see exactly where we stand. But this is the kind of thing where these ministers and bank policymakers, they try and get everything wrapped up into a nice little bundle, maybe keep the markets on edge a little bit, to not know exactly what's going on. But we can see that with the risk aversion to start the day, it'll be interesting to see if this flips around. But with a higher euro than dollar and oil lower, stocks lower, I think that's going to come back into parity at some point, and we'll either see euro weaken or we're going to see stocks and things go higher. So that's what we're looking at today. Keep an eye out for this Strauss-Kahn story. It could be interesting, and in the very least, maybe there's a good movie coming out down the road. So that's what I've got for today, folks. Good trading to all.
As always, be sure to check out the written blog at www.fxedu.com to get complete coverage of today's Forex market. If you would like to learn more about how to trade the Forex market from professionals like myself, be sure to check out our affordable Forex trading courses. And if you're already a seasoned professional or aspire to be one, ask us how we can help you achieve your Forex goals. Go to www.fxedu.com to get started today.